My name is Ryan Hanks. I just put out a video recently on the DUO Malice130, and I wanted to kind of follow up to that video because I had a lot of questions kind of on the gear I'm using and where I fish it, what I do. I'm using a Shimano OSHA plugger, medium heavy 8.2. This rod is really awesome because it will allow you to cast the Malice very far. It has a good bend in it too. So it's going to load the rod and it's going to slingshot it. Another thing it does, I had mentioned this in my video before, is because it has a parabolic bend like this, it's going to do two things. It's going to move your stick bait good through the water and cause good action. But another thing is it's not going to tear out the trebles. Having this parabolic bend lets the fish take it all the way in. And another thing it does is it causes kind of a delay when you set the hook. If you had a very stiff rod, and let's say I tied a string to a stick and I pulled on it, that's immediately going to pull down. You're going to jerk and react. What this does is it gives the you know, whether it's a tuna, mahi, a second to take this down and then load and really set the hook on it after that. The reel I'm throwing this on is a Shimano Stella 8K, and I've upgraded the spool here. Let me make sure you can see this. This is a 16K Max L spool, so it gives me a lot of line capacity. The braid I'm using is Daiwa J-Braid Grand. I was a big fan of that with slow pitch. It's 50 pound. It's very, very smooth braid. It's a good braid, so I can get a lot of casting distance out of this. You don't necessarily need an 8K with a 16K spool to fish this bait. I feel like that could be a little overkill, but I'm kind of prepared for anything with this size spool on here. Another thing I wanted to mention is, you know, this rod is very light, and it does have a good tip, but that doesn't mean it's not powerful. I've landed a very big GT on this same rod. I've pulled in, me and my buddy Alistair pulled in a 200-pound bull shark on this same rod. So, you know, when throwing this bait, you definitely want a rod that's going to give you some action. You don't want to just go out with like a so-called popping rod and try and throw these small baits, because they're going to work against you. You're not going to get good cast. You're not going to get good action out of the bait. So we went out today and we messed around for a little while. I think we got out at like 2 o'clock. And just went about like 5 or 10 miles off the beach, and I went out and kind of made a video showing, you know, the 3 ways I fish the Malice. The first thing I'll do is, if we are by birds and schooling fish, I will throw it out there and I'll burn the reel twice and stop, burn the reel twice and stop, burn the reel, stop. And a lot of times they'll pick it up like that. If we're in an area, let's say like a wreck that I fish, and I don't see schooling fish, I'll throw it out there, make a very long cast, I'll let it sink down, and then I will do like a jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause. And that does trigger, that probably more than any of these methods triggers more bites for me. And then another method I'll do, I'll throw it out there, let it sink down, and then just do some long sweeps with it. I had some guys ask me, you know, okay, cool, it looks like a great bait, I'd like to try it, where do I get it? Unfortunately, right now, it's not available in the United States. I'm hoping DUO will release that in the United States. The place you can get it right now is Lure Haven in Singapore. My buddy Davey Ong runs that store. He's an awesome guy. I mean, he'd probably, if you ordered it, it'd probably get here in a week. I'll make sure too at the end of the video, I'm going to put links for all this. So I'll put links for the rod, for the Malice, for Davey's store, for Lure Haven. So anyways, yeah, we got out there today. We did manage to find some birds, and we got over there and found some bonita schooling. So I managed to catch a couple on that, so it was pretty cool. With saltwater fishing, everybody thinks, you know, let's go throw a big popper. And a lot of times those fish do not want to come up on a big popper. This little bait right here, you can cast a mile, and they are, I mean, tuna, mahi, anything that I've come across will hit this bait. So the way my leader here, what I do is I do a PR knot. You can do FG or PR. My buddy Brian taught me the PR. It's a super strong knot. It's almost 100% connection. I will make sure I got an awesome, got a link that I'll put in the end of the video to show how he ties that knot. So I PR knot 50-pound braid to a 50-pound fluorocarbon leader. As I mentioned before, having fluorocarbon with this certain bait is very important, because you want this bait to sink down. Mono floats and the fluorocarbon sinks. So, you know, don't go heavier than a 50 or 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. I think if you start getting in heavy monos, it's going to keep the bait up in the water column, which is, you know, if you're fishing a wreck or you're trying to get this down, that's going to work against you. And you tend to lose action when you have a really thick mono on this bait. It's designed to basically kind of shimmy. This reminds me of something very similar, and I know if I have any people watching this that fish freshwater, of a spy bait. And so when you throw it out, it's gonna list, it's gonna shimmy, and when you start putting that thick mono leader, that works against it. When fishing this bait, it's worked really well for me to put a treble on the belly and then a single hook. My favorite hook is a BKK. They make amazing, just really strong, sharp hooks. So I use a BKK Raptor Z on the belly. This is actually a Shout Kodako. That's another hook I use. But you want to put like a single Diablo or a Shout Kodako on the back. It's going to give this bait really good action going through the water. If you like this video, please make sure to drop a like for me and subscribe below. I hope that everybody's been out fishing and they enjoyed their week. The weather is getting pretty good now. It's turning springtime for us, which means the bite's going to increase. So I will be showing a bunch of other lures and fishing methods. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me. Find me on Instagram at Ryan Hanks Fishing. Thanks so much. Bye, Malice.